Kalashnikov Rifle. The story of the Kalashnikov rifle starts with a young boy, born to a peasant family in the Russian village of Kurya, who dreamed of becoming a poet. Subject to extreme poverty, frequent illness, and the frigid wasteland of Siberia, Mikhail Kalashnikov nevertheless rallied his efforts throughout his life to help both his family and his country. As a novice tinkerer and mechanic, Mikhail designed what would become possibly the most widely used shoulder weapon in the world, the AK-47. Mikhail Kalashnikov. After being conscripted into the Red Army in 1938, Mikhail served in the 24th Tank Regiment of the 108th Tank Division. Fighting on the Eastern Front of World War II, Mikhail was wounded in combat and hospitalized during the Battle of Bryansk, which was a desperate Soviet struggle to prolong German advancement into Moscow. From his hospital bed, Mikhail frequently overheard Soviet soldiers complaining of the reliability of their current rifles. Jamming, availability, and durability were chief among the concerns Mikhail came accustomed to hearing. In the last few months of his stay in the hospital, Mikhail decided to do something about the drawbacks of the Soviet standard infantry weapons and began work on designing a revolutionary new rifle for his countrymen. He first designed the new submachine gun, but this attempt would not be accepted into service. However, where Mikhail's invention failed in making it onto the battlefield, it succeeded in earning him recognition as a talented designer, and in 1942, he was assigned to the Central Scientific Development Firing Range for the rifle firearms of the Chief Artillery Directorate. The Soviet Union was about to get a major upgrade. Development. In 1946, Mikhail entered an assault rifle competition with his new prototype, the McTeam, which was based off previous designs in 1944 for a gas-operated carbine that used the new 7.62 by 39mm cartridges. Winning the competition, Mikhail's design was accepted for further development and became the first in a new family of prototype rifles. By 1947, this process resulted in a final product called Automat Kalashnikova Model 1947, or Kalashnikov's automatic gun Model 1947. The AK-47 was soon adopted as a standard issue assault rifle for the Soviet Union in 1949 and would become Kalashnikov's most famous invention. Best described as the perfect hybrid between the American M1 rifle and the German STG-44 rifle, the AK-47 is reliable under harsh conditions, cost-effective to make, easy to use, and available in almost every geographic region. Mikhail built upon his entries from the 1946 assault rifle competition, the AK-1 and the AK-2, also known as the AK-46, and created a simplified version. A long-stroke gas piston above the barrel replaced the previous short-stroke piston. The upper and lower receivers were combined into a single receiver. The selector switch and safety were transformed into a single control lever, and the bolt handle was attached to the bolt carrier. The final product, the AK-47, was reliable and easy to use, but more importantly, easy to manufacture. Kalashnikov specs and other models. Although the Kalashnikov rifles were, in Mikhail's own words, a weapon for defense and not a weapon for offense, uncontrolled distribution and ease of manufacture have since earned these automatic rifles a nefarious reputation. Generous clearance between moving parts, a powerful gas piston, and a tapered cartridge allows the rifle to withstand much fouling from foreign matter without failing to cycle, making it a favorite among standing armies and criminal organizations alike. In one staggering statistic, there are an estimated 100 million Kalashnikov family weapons in circulation around the globe, and 75 million of these are AK-47s. With a muzzle velocity of 715 meters per second, the AK-47 is capable of firing its 16.3-gram, 7.62 by 39mm cartridge through heavy foliage, metal bodies of cars, and even walls to penetrate targets that may be hiding behind these obstacles. The projectile also has an unusual ability to stay intact when contacting an opponent and will not fragment even upon hitting bones. This effect produces significant wounds in cases where the bullet yaws in the tissue of the victim, but only minor wounds if the bullet exits too quickly. During the first round of production, Soviet factories had a hard time welding the guide and ejector rails, which caused a substitution to be made wherein the machined receiver was swapped out for the sheet metal receiver. In the years to come, numerous other variations would give birth to new models of the Kalashnikov rifle, such as the AKM rifle in 1959 and the AK-74 in 1974. The AKM rifle was a modernized version of the AK-47, with the M meaning Modernizirovanny, or upgraded in Russian. This new model featured a stamped sheet metal receiver and had a slanted muzzle brake to make the gun more accurate when firing. Recoil is often cited as one of the main problems with the Kalashnikov rifles, as the gun tends to bounce upward after repeatedly firing. The AKM also featured a hammer retarder to stop the rifle from firing when the bolt was not fully closed, which was more prone to happen when the gun was used rapidly or as an automatic weapon. Interestingly, the AKM is roughly 66.6% of the weight of the AK-47, making it lighter and easier to handle on the battlefield. Although most of the Kalashnikov rifle productions outside of Russia would produce the AKM variant, as it was much easier to make, many people in the West mistakenly refer to it as an AK-47. Legacy of Kalashnikov. Nonetheless, both the AKM and AK-47 have continued to be manufactured around the world, with production continuing through to the present day. In some countries, such as Somalia, Rwanda, and the Congo, the AK-47 has flooded the black market, and one can be purchased for only $45 to $150. In other countries, like Kenya, an AK-47 can be acquired for 5 heads of cattle, which is roughly $100, or for as little as the price of a single chicken, or for a $5 bill. With such an overwhelming black market behind it, fueled by mass counterfeiting and illegal manufacturing, it is impossible to know how many are actually in circulation. This shadowy representation is far from the only thing contributing to the common perception of this gun's villainous reputation. The legacy of the Kalashnikov rifles extends back to the Cold War, where both the Soviet Union and the People's Republic of China supplied HKs in huge numbers to Allied regimes, in blatant opposition to NATO and the United States' anti-communist efforts, which were built on the backbone of more expensive rifles, such as the M14 and the M16. Further, the AK-47 has become a symbol of violent revolution, as they were used in the Cambodian Civil War and the Cambodian-Vietnamese War. During the 1980s, the Soviet Union, in opposition to Israel, supplied countries in the Middle East with weapons. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, these weapons, many of which were AK-47s, were sold in markets and on the black market and soon became synonymous with extremist Islamic organizations such as the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and ISIL. While images of extremists, guerrilla insurgents, and steely-eyed Soviet Union soldiers fuel the Western paradigm of these guns, in Russia, they are a source of immense national pride. Mikhail Kalashnikov rose from nothing. He was the 17th child to peasant parents who lost everything and were deported as kulaks to Western Siberia. Growing up in poverty, Mikhail was tasked with aiding his father in providing for his family and quickly became an adept hunter and marksman. This initial familiarity with his father's hunting rifle exposed him to the power of the weapon, as well as piquing his interest in its mechanical properties. For the duration of his life, Kalashnikov hunted, tinkered, and wrote poetry. He was always concerned with providing for others, whether that be helping his father put food on the table or building a more reliable rifle for his comrades in the Red Army. As a lifelong learner, he produced 6 books and took interest in servicing his community, so he made no direct profit from the productions of his Kalashnikov rifle. 6 months before his death, Mikhail wrote a letter to the leader of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill, and detailed how he was in spiritual pain, asking, "If my rifle claimed people's lives, then can it be that I, a Christian and an Orthodox believer, was to blame for their deaths?" Kirill quickly reminded him that the development of the Kalashnikov rifle was for the defense of motherland Russia, and that the Orthodox Church supported both Mikhail and his inventions. When Mikhail Kalashnikov died in 2013, the list of awards and achievements that he is remembered by is extensive and includes such things as the Order of St. Andrew, Hero of the Russian Federation, All-Russian Literary Prize of Suvorov, Order of the Red Star, and countless other awards and military medals. In addition to statues and monuments depicting Mikhail, he is also the inspiration for the naming of a state technical university. However, none of these awards should distract from Mikhail Kalashnikov's legacy as a provider, a family man, and a patriot to his country.